Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Pavs, the Rising VTuber and artist. I'll be on screen momentarily. Please give me a moment. There we go. I'm a Rising VTuber and an artist. Today we'll be working a little bit more on the comic pages that we've been kind of looking at. So first thing on the agenda is that I have to rework this page just a tiny bit because I have to resize Horatio's arm so it's not poking through the panel border here as much, which means we're probably going to need to either... First, let me duplicate these guys just so I can make sure that I'm not like... Oh, did I already do that? No, these are different. Yeah, let me duplicate these guys just so I know that I'm not going to be accidentally putting anybody in the wrong place. But then the tail is kind of poking out there. Okay, so we need to make this make them maybe a little bit smaller here, and then... Oh, but then the arm's still kind of poking out. Maybe just making them straight up smaller is the right way to go. And then just lowering them down a little bit so that way it's not... we don't have two images of the horn breaking through the cloth back to back. I think that might be the right call. Hang on. Is that good? Yeah, I think that should be fine. Maybe even a little bit higher. Yeah, because that way we're not going way past the panel border. Yeah, okay. I'm happy with that. And if it's not no good, we can just bring it back to the original sizing eventually. But yeah, there we go. All right. So the way we're going to do this, I reckon, is... Why is this so transparent? Oh, there we go. Okay, so I fooled around with the transparency incorrectly. Okay. Let me just tuck these away so I can get a good look at what we're actually working with. Okay. So thankfully I've made all the edits I needed to do for the page 2 already. So now what we're going to be able to rely on page 2's color palette. For the most part, I reckon. Okay, so we'll add these here. Just adding some color here and there, basically. Yeah, once we color in Hawk, she'll be poking out through this. Actually, we should probably just get rid of Hawk and Horatio. Just tuck them away for the time being. Do I have time-lapse turned on for this one? I do. Perfect. Okay. I'm still really proud of how this kind of like part of the tent ripping apart is coming out. All right, this would be kind of right next to the other tent. Maybe for this background, we can just have like a flash of red. Or I don't know. The problem is that I don't know what kind of color a flashbang would be associated with. Maybe like orange? I don't know. Let's give it a shot and then we'll mix it up if we have to. Let's see, hue. Wait, I need to switch layers for this one part here specifically. Did I miss anything else? No, I think that's it. And oh wait, no, right there. Yeah, and this area inside of the tent and over here, we can just grab that whenever. Yeah, once we've started shading everything, that'll all come together. Ooh, and maybe we can have some kind of like chaotic pattern in the background here. Like, hang on. Pattern, monochrome pattern. Like, is there anything that's like jagged lines? Let me take a look. Monochromatic patterns. Okay, scrolling through these. Those are just straight up buildings. I don't need those. Hmm. Hmm. Don't ask why I have a 100,000 yen bill pattern in my among my different things. You don't need to worry about all that. Ooh, okay, hang on. I have an idea. All right, so we make it so that hang on. Scale, well, no, we just need, actually, no, we do need to be able to rotate this as well. Because I feel like if we rotate this right, we'll be able to align the, hang on, I gotta get some more desk space here. Because I feel like if we rotate these right, we can get it so that like each of the bumps gets one of these like lightning flash thingies. Then we shrink this back down over here. Or actually put this forward. And then we do the scale thing. Or maybe free transform. I think it might be free transform. And then maybe we tweak this one so it's further up. Tweak this one so it's further out. Then skew it just a little bit. Maybe. Yeah, good enough. What would be a good way to overlay this? What is... I remember that this button does something neat. Interesting, but not what I'm looking for. Maybe the answer is to rasterize this layer. And then we mess around with it using the Lookify tool a little bit. Oh, I see. So it wants to be annihilated. When I watched the Kung Fu Hustle, that the thing I just said is a line from Kung Fu Hustle. When I first watched the Kung Fu Hustle, I watched it with not with the English dub. I watched it with the original Chinese language settings, and it was still a great movie. But I'm kind of sad that I didn't get to watch some of the dub work because it really is kind of priceless in some parts. And then we can just kind of expand this part here. It's kind of annoying because then we have to shrink it back. So what we need maybe isn't the... Hang on. I've got an idea. Get rid of this mask. And then we rasterize it. All right, now let's see what we can cook up. That's too extreme of a change. Maybe if I move this around a little bit like this, and then I move the other ones over to the side a little bit. It's working! It's working! It's alive! Actually, hang on, I might need to... Could I not perhaps just use the mesh transformation? Hang on. No, or... Let me re-rasterize this and I'll get back to that. Oh, wait, I think that... Hang on, what if I use this thing? Okay, interesting. Not quite what I expected, but I'll take it. I don't know. I feel like messing around with this too much is just asking for trouble. Maybe if I just move a large section of it at once, it'll be less noticeable. Oh yeah, now we're talking. Okay, so if we shift these away... All right, and then what we do for these inside parts is just darken them a lot. Or no, I guess they'd have some kind of like flashing light. I don't know, All right, we'll try it like this. All right, so what we're gonna try and do is that for these areas where like the flashbang would have erupted, we're going to... let me roll up my sleeves a little bit here. I'm locking in. I cannot emphasize enough just how much I am locked in right now. All right, so for these areas, I'm going to grab a ruler. We're going to use one of the special rulers. We're going to use a radial line ruler. And we're going to plonk one down right where the explosion will be kind of centered. Then we're going to add like bam, 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 bam. This is taking me back a little bit to when I made that one Kamen Rider fan art. I used a similar technique for the part where, with the, what do you call? With the background. We're also going to add a few lines here. Okay. And then maybe... Oop. Hang on, let me move this thing back for a minute. Maybe just a few extra lines right here in the center. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to do the thing that I usually do for really bright lights, which is radial blur and then Gaussian, or I guess Gaussian blur and then radial blur. Filter. Oh, wait, hang on. I'm going to need to divide and conquer a little bit here because if I do radial blur, hang on. First of all, let me get rid of this ruler real quick. Yeah, if I do radial blur in one go, it'll basically be coming in from the same side. So I need that to not happen. I don't know. Is that doing anything? Kinda. It's like it's not doing nothing. Here, let me. I'll stack it on top of it, and then we'll try and try that again. All right, filter, blur, radial blur, coming in from over here. Copy that. Paste it over. Okay, I'm gonna call this set of layers something like light effects. Okay, and that way I can just grab it all and smack it in there, and now I have an easy on and off toggle. Okay, so then I'll work on the actual shading for this. So that might look a little bit different depending on what I'm trying to do. So I think for this entrance flap thingy, I definitely do want to have like the inside of the curtain be like properly shaded. Although maybe I can vary it around a little bit. Could I maybe not just remove this flap here? What's stopping me, theoretically? Oh, apparently nothing. Ballin'. Okay, we'll grab the area here and add a little bit of watercolor, just so we have not like a pure gradient, so to speak. Hey, a little bit of blending too, why not? No, that doesn't seem right. Okay, and then I think for the rest of these we can kind of just use a gradient approach. Or almost okay, so we add the gradient and then we use a soft eraser to kind of lineate where the tense curves, if that makes sense. So here, for example, we'll add the gradient. And we'll grab the eraser and then just right around here. We'll work on the bulging parts in a minute. I just kind of want to have the bones of it sorted out to begin with. Okay. Reduce the brush size for additional control, please and thank you. Okay, and then over here we'll have a similar situation. And maybe this one will kind of cast a shadow of itself. Whoops. And then over here, similar kind of situation, we'll just add a shadow right here. Me when I'm in the Sonic team and I'm deciding who to add as a guest character. All right. God. I still haven't played Sonic Frontiers, even though I think it might be in my library. I'm not sure what that's. I'm not sure what the game is about. From what I understand, it was kind of divisive, as many non-traditional Sonic games are. Like I saw a lot of people having a great deal of fun with it at first, but then later on, everybody was like, yeah," but it had some parts where it like fell off. I don't know. I'm hoping to give it a fair shake. I was for sure one of those like Sonic guys in elementary school. I do have a lot of affection for that little hedgehog. I still haven't seen the Sonic movie, come to think of it. Maybe I should get on that. I understand that all kinds of crazy stuff is happening in there now. God, it kind of it's fascinating to myself knowing that if I had like been born more if I had been born later, I would have for sure been one of those kids who like binge watch YouTube shorts about like Five Nights at Freddy's lore or some shit. Like I would have been in that contingent, no doubt. I don't know. I'm very easily spooked by horror stuff, but I'm also kind of fascinated by it. Very much the kind of guy who like wants to watch it, but it's like too much of a pussy to watch it by himself. That's why I need. That's why I need to like stream signals and horror stuff like that. Otherwise, I would be like just too afraid. I'd see Adler and I'd get scared that men are real. And it's a good thing that men are an imaginary concept created by the manga industry to sell more yaoi. Am I right? Oh my god. All right, we've got a little bit of this shading done. What I want to do now is maybe make a thing underneath it, and that's when I grab this part here, and I maybe grab a copy of it to have it as a reference for myself. Okay. Let's see. All right, we're gonna shrink the selection by like 10 pixels. No, What is the best way to do this? I feel like the wand tool is definitely the best way to do this. Is the thing. Let me turn on the light effects real quick, just so I have the access to this color here. Oh god, that's kind of it's kind of spooky how you can like see it underneath the shading. That's kind of cool. Freaked me out for a second though, I'm not gonna lie. All right, and now we go back and add these. Uh-oh. I did something just then. I don't know what it was, but I gotta undo it. Alright, that should be good. And then... Shrink that by like 20 pixels, and then... We're gonna need to work on this, for sure. Okay, then over here... This is either going to come out super interesting looking, or it's going to come out be kind of a mess. I'm going to go back and be like, yeah, no, I'm just going to do this without the shading. I don't know. It'd be a shame to do it without the shading, though. I kind of like the idea, and I want to be able to execute that. Okay, let me put this here and this here. I need to shrink my brush size down some more. Oh yeah, this is regarding my earlier comment. Tomorrow's apparently International Women's Day, so thank you for everything that you've done for us women. Really appreciate it. Very cool of you to do. Okay, patch these up. Put these here. Don't know where this speck of dust came from, but I guess it's here to stay now. Oops, didn't mean to do that. All right, grab the eraser. Okay. So far, so good, actually. Although maybe I can gradient erase. Hang on, let me expand this by like 1 pixel. Gradient erase. Put that down. Okay, that'll do. Now, this part here, what am I going to do with? All right, this part here we don't really have a particular scheme for, so I'm going to just gradient erase it out. Then, okay, maybe we shrink down the eraser so we have a little bit more control. Okay. Maybe if I shrink it way down and then just make it so it's the edges of this that are faded, I think that'll be the best. Just kind of expanding as it goes. Then, okay. I think at this point, maybe if I gradient erase the bottom part a little bit. How does that look with the shading? Ooh, okay. Interesting. Okay, so I think I might have made a mistake in diluting this top part here. This thing needs to be lit up like a Christmas tree. I don't know. I need to increase the tolerance on this by like a lot. I'm having second thoughts. Maybe if I hang on, select color gamut, this one here. If I use the paintbrush tool, maybe that'll put me more at ease, rather than just trying to like mindlessly paint bucket fill this thing. Okay, then over here. Okay, maybe. All right, I'm not going to talk for minutes because I got to lock in on this. If you hear randomized mumbling, that might be why. Okay, it's just. Okay, I think I got it. I have got to turn down the tolerance on the paint bucket tool. This is no way to live. Also, this speck of dust is pissing me off. Forget what I said earlier. It has to go. It's got to go. You got to leave, man. You can't be talking like that speck of dust. Okay, and then maybe on this side. Okay, just removing these bits little by little. Ah, come on. All right. Please, God. This is a gradient erase tool. Okay, and then increase the brush size, and then. Okay, I'll use the spray tool for these parts here. Okay. Maybe if I lower the opacity of this a little bit. May shrink it down? Something about it is bugging me. Wait, I think I got it. Okay, so here's the plan, right? I'm gonna duplicate this layer, and then I'm going to increase the opacity, and then I am going to erase where the light wouldn't hit as much in kind of like broad strokes. And then right here, I am going to duplicate this, and I am going to give it the kind of Gaussian blur illumination treatment that I gave the some of the stuff earlier. Put that just over here, and then, yeah, like for example, remove it from here, and then, I don't know, maybe make it like radial blur out from like where the grenade would have been. Where's the radial blur button? Here we go. Give that a second to cook. I might have cooked it too hard. I can already see that I cooked it way too hard. You see all this stuff going on over here? Oh, jeez, it's gonna take. Doesn't look like as good as the original. If I'm gonna be fully honest. Yeah, I think layering it on top of each other helps. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab the tent flash, and I'm going to then use it for. Hang on. Merge selected layers. There we go. Now I'm going to use it to make like the silhouettes of everything happening. I need to make the brush way more dense. God, I hope this is working. I need to reduce the brightness of some of this other stuff. Crap. Hang on. I don't know, it just doesn't look as bright without it is the problem. All right, maybe we take a couple steps back because I feel like we can make an even stronger stylization out of this. Let's start with the guy kind of plastered up here first. Okay, then like this. Did Paps remember to turn on the time lapse? Hi, Bunny. Yes, I did. I checked earlier. Thank you for the reminder. Actually, yeah, the time lapse for this one is going to come out pretty sick because of the tent here. I think taking the shading panel by panel for the time being would be ideal because this, or at least I'll do the shading for this panel first because I feel like it's one of the more complicated ones. Okay. Gotta make this a little bit finer. Okay, then we'll make the dog over here. God, the sunglasses here are a little bit goofy. Not gonna lie. It's really annoying that I can't. Hang on. Maybe if I just like slightly. Lower the opacity of this. That'll help a little bit with my own visibility. Okay, and then Hawk is gonna be like right over here. Okay, there we go. Then like this. Yeah, I'm gonna make these guys into more solid shapes and then just like make drag lines off of that. Okay, then over here. There, this way I don't need to draw the dog person's hand. what really makes me angry about this method of doing things is that if I want to reverse something, it's way more effort. Hang on. Our selected layer. Then I literally just need to grab whatever's here, more or less. That's not even working. There has to be a smarter way of doing this. Wait, there literally is. I could just be painting this over the light. Oh, god damn it. And I can't go back no more. All right. We'll take this from the top. I'm getting very wishy-washy, and that's never a good sign. It means that I'm struggling. All right, here's an idea, right? Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And then maybe put that under the... definitely it would have to go under the lines. All right, I'll take that. Okay, now we focus on making the shadows. So I think for that, the best option would be to, for the ones in the foreground, just literally make them the color of the tent because they are right up against the tent here. Oh my god, this is so much easier. Okay, then we have just a couple little flicks over here. Okay. And then for the more kind of stuff that's further in the back, I'll add... It'll be kind of like this color here. Hang on. Maybe I can make the thingy here like pure white. Why is it not letting me make anything brighter? Wait, is this already... Hang on. I forgot to turn off my night light. Which is maybe why my judgment is not perfect. Oh no, that's really white. Oh, that is way whiter than I thought it was. All right, we need to like imbue this with like some kind of hue. Imbue this, if you will. All right, gradient map. Save me, gradient map. Save me. Yes, this is already better. All right, we literally just need to switch it around to like a more kind of like greenish color and drop the saturation a bit. All right, we can do the same thing for the colors here. Let's see, edit, tonal correction, gradient map. Low saturation significantly, maybe bump it closer to here. I don't know. I just need to make this the same color as this. As a normal tent flap right here. Okay, and now hopefully... Okay, now white does show up, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. Okay, we'll grab this part, turn down the luminosity a little bit, turn up the saturation. I don't even know what parts of these are anymore. What a mess. No, we need this part here. Although maybe we can like blur it a little bit more. That might be the right way to go. And then now we can use a thing of pure white. Why is that not working? Is this already like pure white? That's not at all pure white. That should not be. Some days I just feel like I don't understand colors. Three beasts, that's right. Hi, Jupiter. God, this is exactly like that one Neko Yume game you played. Three beasts all kind of like hunched over. Possibly eating my charred remains? Who's to say? Liking the colors already? Thank you. I appreciate. I really do appreciate the vote of confidence. Thank you. Me and the boys getting wild and wacky with the shims on the Demon Core experiment. Okay, then over here. Certified obscure gamer. Yeah. Out of those games that you played, which one do you think you like the most? Neko Yume was definitely intriguing, but I don't know if I'd give it a go myself. I was really interested in the one with all the mice and such. It's a shame that it won't be. It doesn't seem to be going anywhere from here on out. Didn't you know it's a reference to the obscure surreal masterpiece Neko Yume? Not to be confused with the similarly named Yume Nikki that Pabs made a mistake of mistaking it for. Straight up, I thought you were just gonna play Yume Nikki on there. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was about to see my friend Marotsuki until Big Light gave me a brain disease. Yeah, God, that was a really good one. Real hidden gem right there. Mm. The brain disease is being bummed out that I will never get to assassinate a patriarch cat in a tower. True. I need to make this armor like way smaller and way longer. Okay. Sad. Yakuza franchise, can you please help me? Yeah. I mean, if we're gonna get an experience like that anywhere, it's gonna be in a Yakuza game. In Yakuza 9, there's gonna be a sub story where Ichiban ends up in New York somehow and helps and undergoes like the exact same plot from Ratatouille, like beat for beat, word for word, the exact same plot synopsis of Ratatouille. But it's like compressed to the length of like a sub story, so it's only like 15 minutes long total. Let's see. Would Mouse Kiryu be like Baka Squeak Tai? Like a Dragon Ghost communist? God. I don't know. It's hard to like understand the political alignment of the Yakuza franchise because on the one hand, it is very much like Kiryu is very much a dude who has like very traditional values, but I like cannot imagine myself I cannot myself imagine Kiryu ever like being politically conservative. Those sunglasses looked majorly messed up. The next generation of ex Yakuza must surpass the dragon by starting the revolution. God. That's a thing. Like I was saying, yeah, the Yakuza series doesn't seem to be like seems to be politically left, but it does also put a lot of emphasis on money. God. I don't know. I don't think I don't think the Yakuza series is going to be the next franchise to go like full on Disco Elysium. I gotta rework this part here. Okay, and then over here we'll have a ratio. I don't know. I can get rid of this part here because I feel like it just doesn't. It just kind of messes up with the flow. I love this panel. Thank you. God, there has to be at least one itch.io tabletop RPG that somebody's like structured that's basically just like you play a Yakuza sub story every single session. God, I feel like with multiple players, that game would quickly spiral into like an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I need to reduce the size of this guy's dome. I feel I know that that there hasn't been like a live action Kiryu since they made that the one Yakuza game adaptation movie. But hear me out. It'd be really funny if we brought Kiryu on as a guest for an It's Always Sunny episode. I've never seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but I feel like it would be correct. The gang tries to jump him and they just get tiger dropped into oblivion. I'd say we need more games like Yakuza Like a Dragon, but there's honestly a pretty good amount to the franchise, some of which haven't even left Japan. That's true. I don't know. I think what we need more of is like the ethos of the Like a Dragon games, which is to just have a lot of ambition and just kind of confidence in the silliness of it. Putting Pabs in a monkey ball? Please, God, no. I swear to God, I've had a nightmare exactly like that. Please do not put me in the monkey ball. Please, I swear to God. I will not survive in the tiny monkey universe. I would fit in perfectly, but I would not survive. It wouldn't be living. I don't know what kind of. I feel like the only franchise where you could put me into like one of their games and I wouldn't be a huge bitch about it would probably be the Pokemon series. I feel like if you put me in any other series, I would be a huge crybaby about it. But like if you put me in like the Pokemon universe, I would be all right with it. It wouldn't be the worst. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Time to price ratio is a little bit of a skewed concept these days because some developers heard that and were like, "Oh, so we can just put 5 billion collectibles in here with no kind of actual value added to our customers, and just pad the gameplay out that way, and then we can say we have like 50,000 hours of gameplay. Nice." Or you got something like worse yet, God forbid, Starfield. I am pretty used to wrangling beasts, come to think of it. I would be one of those NPCs that you can fight and they give you like an item that you can use to like boost your that you can like kind of like the guy that gives you the focus sash or something. Like I wouldn't be a full on like gym leader, I don't think, but I would definitely be like a guy who gives you like a bag of an item called like lucky rice or something that lets your Pokemon go first during a fight or something. I need to make Oratia's head smaller yet again. What is it with this guy and his huge dome? And any Pokemon likes or Digimon likes? Ooh. I did actually used to have a soft spot for Digimon when I was a kid. I really like the Digimon anime in particular. I really enjoyed watching that through 3-part slices of a YouTube video. But I don't know. I haven't played a Pokemon game in quite some time. I have some on my DS, but I don't really go for those. I've been too busy catching up on Ghost Trick and fucking Hotel Dusk whenever I've had the chance to play with the DS. I still gotta finish Hotel Dusk. It's been a very compelling story so far. I don't know. How hard is it to make like a Neko Atsume type game? Yeah, first you ghost and then you trick. It's that easy. What don't you understand? But the controls, there's two fucking controls. You either ghost or you trick. Actually, come to think of it, I finished my first Professor Layton game a little while ago on the DS, and it was pretty decent. Not the sort of thing that I'm going to become like a huge fanatic of, but I can definitely understand the appeal of that old man. I call him an old man. He's like 30 at most. God, thinking that I'm going to be 25 at some point in the in within the year or the near future. I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting feeling. I don't know. Is that old enough to qualify as a hag? I want to qualify as a hag. Then over here, what the? Okay, how am I doing that? Oh, I see. I don't know. I know there's also maybe I should start just replaying DS games that they're suddenly remaking for the Switch. Like I don't know. There is that one game like Lost Code or something like that, right? Or another code or something. Maybe I can start playing those too. I saw a lot of people were excited for that. I don't know too much about the series, but I might as well find out some if it's not going to cost me anything. Another code. Yeah, okay. I'll have to check that out sometime. I also really want to play a Dragon Quest game at some point. I feel like I keep hearing about those, and I never end up playing any of them. And I know there's at least a couple of them on the DS that I can try out. Okay, then over here. Hmm. I'm also slacking on that. I got a cop DQ11 sometime. Hasn't even really truly started the games Tales game I said I do. Oh yeah, like Tales of Berseria and whatnot, right? I hear people gas those up all the time. Oh, hey, quick tangent. Quick tangent. Cover your ears for 30 seconds. I'm about to run an ad. God, yeah. The issue with RPGs truly is the time commitment. Like you need to be. That's why I think like the DS or some such portable console was the best RPG console, so to speak. Because like, don't get me wrong, obviously, like you wouldn't have titles like, say, for example, Final Fantasy 16 on, like you couldn't render Clive Rossfield's Bountiful Pecs in a puny little DS engine, but definitely, I do think there is something to be said for a game console where you can just pick it up, be like, all right, I've had enough for today, put it down, and then pick it back up very easily. Tim Hortons ad? Oh, fuck. God. Yeah, I'm not supposed to tell you guys this because you don't live in Canada, but Tim Hortons can come into your house, can come to your doorstep and knock on your door and be like, "Have you paid your fees?" Like the NHK people in Japan. And if you don't pay your fees, well, you'd have better paid your fees. All I'm gonna say. Yeah, the UK TV license, very similar concept and execution to that. It's crazy how like people will know that you own a TV and be like, "Now we know where you live, so don't forget to pay your TV license." Shit, like I feel like that's very small potatoes. It's kind of concerning just how thug-like it is, considering like the stakes involved. Like at this point, if somebody watches television, I feel like you should be thanking them as a TV network. Okay. We're in a weird place with smartphones now where I can't really see a major portable console that is smaller than the Swatch happening nowadays. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Switch 2 will have some kind of interesting effect that we can rely on, but I would not hold my breath. Yeah, that's supposed to be happening soon, right? Like the Switch 2 announcement. Finally, I'll be able to rationalize buying a new gen console. Actually, it would be pretty cool if the Switch had a foldable screen. Although hopefully they would fix stuff like the drifting problems first for the Joy Cons. I don't even know why the Joy Cons are allowed to drift. That feels like it's very poor construction on that. Hmm. If they announce a Vita 2 or something along those lines, I think I'll be obligated to tap in, and it will have just as many games on it. Well, sure, but at least you'll be able to find to get on, I guess, Persona 3 Reload Golden. God, can you imagine? What would they even add at that point? They add a new ending where you can run away from all this bullshit with the SES and just live on a farm with Koromaru. All right, put this here. Persona Q, now with more girls. Ideally, yeah. All right. Now we're going to grab this one. We'll paint this panel first. I've only ever caught small snippets of what the Persona Q games are like, thanks to Corgi's streams. I don't think I'm really captivated by the premise of it, but I guess there's something for everyone, right? Bastion feels like a good portable game. That's fair though. Like they did have no, I guess Supergiant has just been porting about everything to mobile somehow. I know that Hades Mobile is supposed to be coming out soon, which I have conflicted feelings about as somebody who played Bastion mobile version. Like, don't get me wrong, Bastion mobile version is a fine beast of a game, but I don't know about Hades. Like, the combat was already kind of janky with the small screen with Bastion, so I feel like Hades might be even more complicated than that. Dying 1 million times on your phone, for real. Lose to your dad in a fist fight on the subway on the way to work now. You should really do it. Tap in. Aha. Pot the kettle maybe, but Hades seems more complex and visually dense. Oh, yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. I feel like Hades wouldn't translate very well to. Hang on. Okay, I see. Yeah, no, I feel like some of the stuff in Hades wouldn't translate very well to mobile, but then again, I'm just some measly gamer out of why does he not have a second lens? Why does he not have a second lens? God damn it. Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like it'd be especially a bummer given the roguelike element. I don't know. There's a lot of popular roguelike games on mobile though. Blasting your glasses into a monocle. Got it. That's like quite the 50th insult. His mouth off anymore, and I'll knock your glasses into a monocle. That sounds like some real hooligan talk. I mean, to be fair, right? To be fair, you're not supposed to hit a guy with glasses in the first place. So I feel like maybe glasses related hooligan talk might not have caught on as much as some of its contemporaries on account of this courtesy. right? Because it's one of those situations where like you don't get to bust it out very often, so you just don't prepare for it. Not often are you actually fighting a guy who dares to wear glasses mid fight. I don't know. I guess it's like a cultural thing because like you see dudes wearing glasses all the time while they fight in Japanese games. So maybe they have more like more biting insults. I feel like I've always felt that like in terms of insults for glasses wearers, I feel like we could always do better than Four Eyes. Like Four Eyes is pretty good, but like it doesn't feel as vicious as it's supposed to be. I feel like like it feels very much like I'm just calling the guy who with glasses a stupid face, right? Like it feels dripless. It doesn't feel like it has any panache to it. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't been fighting enough people with glasses. Luckily, I never have to worry about all that because I technically don't have any eyes, right? So anybody who's like, "What are you doing, Four Eyes?" And I'd be like, I don't even have two eyes." For your information, FYI, heads up. I don't know. I feel like if I acted like that, they'd just punch me harder. Personally, I do innovate bullying for glasses users for the comic's sake, of course, of course. I don't know. Come to think of it, it's kind of rare that I don't actually have any grudges towards people with glasses of any kind. I don't know. Maybe it's because a lot of my family members wear glasses. I just can't bear to be a hater toward people who wear glasses. I mean, they have it hard enough, right? They need to pay to see. That's not right in any circumstance. I don't know. The cool thing about like knowing about stuff like TikTok is being up to date on like all the latest bullying trends. Like I know now that I don't need to innovate bullying on a lot of things because the kids are kind of doing that by themselves. You know, they're doing a bang up job of that without my interference. So I really just got to kick back for a while and let somebody else do the work on that front. Okay, and then the boots with the fur. It pisses me off knowing that the DPI thing doesn't really change when you're working with larger canvases if you're just using pixel stuff. I learned that the other day. Like if you have a like 200 DPI canvas and a 600 DPI canvas, unless you're using the canvas, you're measuring the canvas using inches. Like if you set up the file to use inches as a measurement, they'll have the exact same like quality to them. It's all just pixels. I don't know. I felt that was a little galling. Does that mean I gotta switch to like using inches for my comic pages now? That sounds like a pain. Okay, then over here. Wow, is that all that's like showing up the jetpack on the panel? That's lucky. Okay, put this here. Add this here. Speaking of innovations, I read recently that they built a 3D printed house over in Detroit recently. Yeah, apparently the dang thing goes for like $250,000, which which is like relatively affordable if you're like in New York or California. But like the thing is, like most homes in Detroit go like for $100,000 apparently. So nobody's been buying the property. It's not the first of its kind. Apparently, they built like 100 pack of them over in Georgetown somewhere. But from what I understand, those are also much more expensive. Like the issue is that like the resources themselves used to build the house are lower because of the efficiency of the 3D printing methods. But the problem is that because all of the resources are need to be like custom made, there's no economies of scale on the level of like normal building just yet. So what ends up happening is that you end up spending a whole lot of money to build like this super efficient house, but you end up spending way more money making it efficient than you spend making it like affordable. Well, it's not all a waste. From what I understand, NASA is trying to figure out how to put buildings on the moon, and this 3D printing stuff is going to be really valuable. Although first they have to figure out how to make like a moon cement or something, which I assume is something that is easier said than done. I mean, even saying it feels like it's a little out there, so I can't imagine how hard it is to actually like figure out how to make concrete from moon rocks. I don't know, it might be quite easy for all we know. Maybe making moon concrete is as easy as making like pancake mix. I wouldn't know. Oh, I'm gonna save my work real quick because my Clip Studio Paint just like blinked out of existence for a second there, and that makes me nervous. It makes me very nervous. But yeah, if you're in the market for a new house, it's like $220,000. Apparently, they've got one with your name on it over in Detroit. 2 beds, 1 bath. Yeah, I've been talking to my parents, and recently they've been watching this one of those like home renovation shows. You know, where like where like the person being interviewed by the show is like midway through the renovations, they're like, "Oh fuck, I've completely underestimated this." So they call in some repair specialist to help out a little bit. And from what I understand, it's actually quite the galling experience because we have people on the show who are like, "Oh yeah, we'll be like 2 million more in the hole, but I guess that's still within our budget." And you'll be like, "To what?" I don't know. It's got to be quite the experience. I'm gonna make the leather belt the same color as Hawk's normal. No, that's gonna be confusing. Maybe the same color as the boot leather. Recently, I've been thinking about that one YouTube video that's like an Ace Attorney edit of the boot to the head bit. I gotta revisit that. I feel it calling out to me for some reason. I don't know. The ruler of everything edit took way less effort than I thought it would. So maybe I'll be okay if I try to make like a boot to the head edit with some people's PNGs. Oh, speaking of Bastion, got one of the OST tracks on here. God, Bastion's OST really carried me for a long time in like middle school. Recently, Kiara and Ina from Hololive were discussing, and Ina didn't know the Tom Jones song "Sex Bomb," and Kiara was very surprised at that. And Ina later tweeted out like, "All I have on all the songs on my phone are like from anime and video games. I'm sorry." I'm like, "That's my Oshi. That's my Oshi right there." I've never had so many moments where I'm like, "She's just like me for real, for real." Then with like Ina. Let's see. I think a funny idea would be to get a bunch of people who had that music taste in high school. You know, the folks who are like, I'm just gonna listen to like anime openings and video game soundtracks all day. I feel like we need to get a bunch of those people together and get their playlists from high school together and see if they can guess whose is whose. That might be an interesting move. Because there's bound to be a little bit of overlap, right? Like there's gonna be enough to know. I forgot the top handle on this grenade here. Son of a whatever. We can put it together in like 5 seconds. Hang on. Because like I feel like people will be able to like recognize their own one, but I feel like the real juicy stuff is like when there's overlap in the song choice. Like we know three of us have Rolling Girl on our high school playlist. All right, that's two people that we know for sure. Like that's three people that we know for sure could be guilty of it. But the question is, whose is it? Because I think that then it would come down to like a second choice, a second song choice. I don't know. The only bad part about that is that I feel like even if you did have that restriction in place, everybody's gonna have like different games and such that were meaningful to them. So it'll be harder than it seems to kind of suss out. Well, no, it'll be harder than it seems to like confuse the game players. Okay. Oops. Didn't mean to undo that. I'm doing this right, right? Wait, what do you mean it didn't have a second? Oh no. Oh no. I might have accidentally over exaggerated the amount of details in these grenades. Hang on, let me check the other pages just real quick. Just to make sure I didn't dung goof too badly. Okay, no, they're the same here. No inner circle. What about for page 6? What's page 6 treating me like? Okay, still no inner circle. Page 7. I think when it came to page 7, that's when I started using the 3D model that I made of the grenade. No, these still had. Okay, wait, so then. What? All right, hold up. Wait a minute. So I can just get rid of this like first ring, can't I? Oh, that's probably. Wait, no, the backs are supposed to be flat. Oh my god. What is wrong with these? I must have been tripping like crazy when I was drawing this. Oh my god. Okay. I think the rest of these should be fine. Still, that was quite the scare. And kind of a pain in the ass, if I'm being fully honest. I don't know. It's always like the little things like that that always make me the angriest to correct. Because if it was like a big overhaul, right? Then I can get mad about it, but the work is still there to be done. But if it's just like a tiny detail, I'll feel more mad at myself for like wasting time needing to correct it than for actually like having it almost be wrong. I don't know. I love working, but I hate being inconvenienced, if that makes sense. Okay, put this here. Grab this, fill this here. Grab this. Good grief. Okay, grab this, grab this, grab this. Grab. I don't know. I don't know why I made the little marble in the middle of these things look so delicious. I feel like I could pop one in my mouth and it'd be like a cherry halls. Or like one of those like rubber balls that you like chew on as a kid that you're not supposed to really chew on because they might have toxic substances, but you chew on them anyway. Kind of like that. I don't know. The yellow one doesn't appeal to me as much. Okay, then grab this. All right, I think that's everything, and we can move on to the shading stage. That also means we can probably start turning on the other panels in the background. Okay. Getting into shading mode. This one won't be too hard because I feel like the shadows on this one are gonna be fairly obvious. Although this one might be too harsh. Hmm. Yeah, that's a little better. Bam, bam. And then we can have a little bit of shadow here for the hat. Speaking of shading the hat, I can darken this one a little bit more. Okay, then over here, bring this down. There we go. I've thought for a long time about like what the tips of Horatio's horns remind me of, and now I'm realizing they remind me a lot of like ribs, like short ribs, the tip of them. I feel like you could get the meat right off those bad boys. Okay, then over here. Okay, then over here, and then over here. After that, we can probably start adding some shading to the shirt. Since Hawks is like the smallest amount, since Horatio is kind of like the focus of this one particular panel, I think it's fine if we leave Hawk for until later. That color seems off. This one, on the other hand, seems like it might be too weak, but let's see how it goes. Okay, then over here. Okay. Replace this part here. So far, so good. Now we just gotta get over this part. Make this a little bit smaller. Okay, and then obscure this arm, this part here, this part here. Okay, there we go. For the horn, we gotta have this part here, in addition to the ordinary shadow that it casts. Okay. Shorts. For the shorts, what I'll need to do is grab the one over here. Ah, son of a... I appear to have forgotten Horatio's cane in one of these pictures. Okay, does he hold it in the right hand or in the left hand? Okay, we can transfer it to the... Okay, I know what to do. We'll add Horatio's cane to the end of this hand over here. So that he's kind of like wielding it in reverse grip. And that way it can just kind of go behind the panel for the rest of the whole thing. Okay, move this over here. Gotta get rid of some of this other crap in the background too, so I don't have to worry about it. God, it's a good thing that things are winding down because I don't want to know how tweaked I would be if I had to do this while things were busy. Thankfully, I've gotten a lot of work done on some of the things that I had pending. There's still some more to go, but I've gotten like a really big pressing one out of the way, so that's always good for the good old mental dome health. Okay, and then how do I make circles again? That'll do. I like the fact that just because of my ill-timed fuck ups with Horatio's cane, now bro is just like twirling it between from panel to panel like a fucking marching band stick. The good news is that does fill a little bit of the white space of like the empty space in this panel nicely. So that's something to be grateful for, I guess. Okay. Let's see. Okay, grab this. Add it here, here, and here. All right, I also need to make the cane have like those little grip lines. That shouldn't be too hard, thankfully. There we go. Although maybe now I should just move them so they're a little bit better aligned. Okay. And over here, we can just add a little bit of a gap here in the lighting. Gotta get this just like pixel perfect. There we go. Okay. God, I hope I remember that next time. Please don't let me ever forget it. I'll put this over this direction and this like so. All right, let's bring this back down to the normal rotation. Okay, shrink these down. And then maybe I can almost like shrink this down again into itself. No, that doesn't seem to. I feel like that doesn't make sense. All right. What else are we missing for the dinosaur? We can just do the shorts and the boots and call it a night for now. That first panel took a lot more out of me than I thought. Okay, then put this over in this direction. Then the dangly things here. I guess we can add a couple of shadows for these. Okay. Okay, then... fuck it, I'll just have this whole area coated in shadow. Okay, then... the boots. With the... well, without the fur. Okay, I didn't shade them in this panel. I might as well just like pick a random color and go for there. Okay. Alright, I think that's gonna be it for tonight. I'm not gonna lie. That was an absurd amount of work for what I feel like, I don't know. Something about this panel bugs me. Let me go back to the first panel and see if I can maybe... Okay, I think maybe turning off the light effects for this part here will help me to feel better about it. Okay, a little bit better. We can get rid of this one. And I think maybe instead what we can do is maybe go back to this panel here, or this layer here, add a new one and emphasize like the flash of light from the grenade. Hang on, where's the radial ruler? Okay. And maybe this one we add some additional effects to. Just gotta be careful of not going too much too soon. Okay, I think maybe removing some of the light effects from this one. Yeah, I think that helps a little bit with the readability of it, weirdly enough. Oh, whatever. I can go back and add them super easily anyway. What I might do is go back with the hard eraser for some of these. All right. And then maybe just as like a final touch, we can add a little bit of shading on Horatius Horn. Although I don't know where we'd add it. I think this is a layer with all the shadows. Might as well try here. And one more thing. I want to try to replace the lines here. They're a little bit hard to see, so I'm going to replace them with slightly darker ones. Or, add some more dark lines to them. That's not helping. Okay. Cool. I'm going to leave it like that then. Okay. I'm going to end things here for today. Saturday Yakuza. I will see you all there. Have a good night and enjoy the rest of your evening. I will see you on Saturday. Bye.